Yo, what's up, everybody? So just before we get into this week's podcast, we have some really exciting news. On Wednesday the 29th of January, Queen's Film Theatre in Belfast will be hosting a screening of the Lil Peep documentary, Everybody's Everything. Straight after the screening, we'll be hosting a live podcast with Andrew Moore. He's a writer for Clash magazine and co-founder of Belfast party throwing outfit, Plain Sailing. So the live podcast will be about drug culture and modern music. Tickets are only $6.95, but if you use the code MABFIELD, you get them for £4. So if you go in the link in our bio or in the comments section, alternatively, you'll get the link to the tickets, buy them there, use the code MABFIELD and get them for cheaper. The event is in association with Lumi, which carves out a space in Queen's Film Theatre's 2-screen cinema to create events that young people actually care about. If you want to follow them on Instagram, it's at Lumi, ATQFT. So just a reminder, that's Wednesday the 29th of January, Queen's Film Theatre in Belfast. The film starts at 6:20 and the podcast starts at 8:30. So grab your tickets, use the code MABFIELD, and I'll see you there. Yeah, so what's the crack, everybody? Dylan from Mabfield here, joined by Jack, as per usual.
Yeah.
We were going to do an episode on something totally different. And we had a couple of conversations with people just today. And we've been thinking about it a lot, and we feel like we need to change things. I think it started when we did that end of year podcast, and we both came out of it thinking, oh, that was fun and good to get loads of people in a room, but also felt a bit empty in terms of like what the purpose of it.
Yeah, a bit too friendly.
Yeah, it just felt as though everybody was saying this is great, and it was actually, I think it was Crackboy Mental said on Twitter, like he's like, all these end of year things are great, but you know what's the point in just telling everybody they're great, something along those lines. And I was like, I actually replied to him, I was like, yeah, you're totally right, and I want to be more honest with stuff, because I feel like when this started we did track reviews and we were like, you know, quite critical about stuff. And maybe it comes from a place of knowing everybody that makes it harder to then criticise.
Yeah, I think with the track reviews specifically, it was often people that we'd not heard of that we were wanting people to send in. Because we wanted to hear new music anyway. It wasn't just because we wanted to just like stamp our opinion on some songs. It was mainly just to hear people that we hadn't heard of. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think, although I did really enjoy that podcast, I think it made us reflect on how we've sort of become more part of the scene and then got to know people more, and it's made us less critical of their music.
Yeah, and I mean that's the whole point, is like people are questioning when's everybody gonna blow, when's this gonna happen, and like never, if everybody's just saying everyone's great, because if everyone is really great, then everybody would be peppered across all these magazines, like doing mad numbers on YouTube. And yeah, it comes down to who you know at times, but if something's really great, it'll pierce through, you know. Mm-hmm.
That's what we're saying. Like the scene's been going. It's been going for a while now.
Yeah.
Like Ru Sangano Family won the best album at the Choice Prize 3 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
2016, but I think it was 2017. You know that the award.
Yeah. So yeah, there's an argument to be made that, you know, scenes take a while to come to the mainstream, and there's always like a gestation period, I guess. But in my opinion, that is probably still the best album or the best like long projects to come out of the scene, and I don't think that shows a good sign of progression at all. I think like to progress as a scene, it has to be that comes out, that's great, everyone loves it, and I do think that is a great album.
Yeah.
But it has to be bettered. Someone has to do it better.
I don't think anybody's really raised the level. I mean, we talked about Delhi Daydreams before, but it wasn't an album, but that's the only thing that really comes close. And I mean, people are talking about all this stuff, and we were talking about there's narratives created around stuff before it's even released. Like with the Mango Mathman album, I feel like people already had an opinion on what it was going to be before it was released. And like, I get that they're trying to encapsulate like modern Dublin and what it's like, and you know how shit there's hotels being built, and like, you know, the homelessness crisis and all these things are like, you know, piercing into their music and seeping in. But like, I seen an Irish Times review and I give it 5 stars. I'm sorry, it's just not a 5-star album. Do you know what I mean? And it's like that kind of stuff. It's like, are you gonna have like To Pimp a Butterfly on the same level as that? And I know that you can't compare stuff in terms of like, To Pimp a Butterfly is a super amazing album, totally well produced. The rapping's incredible, but it was like culturally, it's a behemoth. You know, it just encapsulated America and racism in America in that point. And there's the argument that Mango Mathman captured Dublin in that very moment, but the quality of music is definitely not 5-star. You know what I mean?
No, it's nowhere near. Like, it's nowhere near, to be honest. I think the whole like, yeah, the hotels and like the situation in Dublin with all the prices going up or whatever, like it's interesting, and like it's a Dublin centric topic. I know it's happening in other cities around the world.
Yeah.
But that's good and that's great, but it's only going to carry you so far.
Yeah.
Like it has to come to a point where, you know, everyone can say like, oh yeah, we all agree about this. This is bad. But if the song is not good, the song's not good.
Yeah, and I mean there is other topics in that album. You know, there's like a lot of reflective stuff, blah blah blah, and we're not just talking solely about that album. There's loads of other stuff come out, but I think that's like a prime example of there's a narrative built before it even came out, and people had already made the decision that this was a classic album because it was 4 years in the making or whatever. You know, and like to be honest, like I couldn't give a fuck if like an album's 10 years in the making. It's just whatever comes out at the end. Like if Frank Ocean came out with an album now and it was, you know, 4 years since Blonde or whatever, and it was trash, it's still trash.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, it's a decent enough album for Mango Math Man, but then people are saying, oh, outrage that it's not nominated for the Choice Prize, and it's like, maybe it could have got nominated. But it was a relatively strong year this year. You know, a lot of diverse sounds that were good, but at the end of the day, like if people are pining for like to win the Choice Prize, I don't really think that's what Irish like hip hop needs, or hip hop in Ireland needs to progress. We need to like break out of Ireland, and like getting a nod from radio DJs that are on the judging panel that don't even listen to your fucking music or play your music. Getting a nod from them, what is that going to do for you?
Yeah, it's like I guess your music played on the radio for a week.
Yeah,
and then they forget about it again.
Yeah, and I mean I think people have really like in a sense like the Rubber Bandits and Reggie Snow like were a watershed moment. In Rubber Bandits were selling out, you know, big venues in Dublin, doing shows elsewhere, and it was a different type of hip hop. You know, it was a comedic slant to it. Reggie Snow left and broke in America and was able to do things there. They're doing very different things, but like Roos and Gano family and arguably Kojak doing some stuff, you know, are the only other things since then. And I feel like stuff's stagnated, because I don't think the quality of Kojak's music is any better than what Roos and Gano family's music was.
No, I think they're on pretty similar levels.
Yeah.
But I think with the like accessibility of music now, how easy it is to find people, like if truly the scene was so good and the music was so great, then people from other countries would be clamoring to work with all these guys.
100%.
Right.
And I think that's like with the drill music thing, like people can hate on it, but there's a certain level of quality, regardless of what your argument with the accent and all it is. There's a certain level of quality to it, that is getting it views, and maybe some of it is that shock value and the fact, whoa, Irish drill music, that's such a weird thing, but like, you know, they're doing something different at the very least. And if we're talking about getting recognition outside of Ireland, like so many people have to do stuff outside of the country for people then in their own country to accept them. Do you know, so many people say like Max from Tabby Rex was saying, or I think it was Matt was saying even, you know, it took him to do a show in England, you know, at a festival for people in Ireland to fuck with him, and it's like, it's just weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is like quite an Irish issue generally.
It feels like it.
From what I've heard, I mean, I don't really know. Obviously, I'm not.
Yeah.
But I think to most people, like if I just go and tell like my mates back in England or whatever, are like, oh yeah, with this podcast about Irish hip hop, like it's still a bit of a joke, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, some people just don't take it seriously. Like, but at the same time, you then if you were to show them the best stuff, then they'll be like, oh, that's sick. But you're not going to show them half the stuff that people are raving about. You're going to show them some of Jafar's stuff probably. You're going to show them, I don't know, like Kojak or whatever. You're going to show them like Hazy Haze, his new album. Like, incredible album. We just listened to it again before we started this. Like, he got it premiered on the Fader. That's the level that we should be going to. It shouldn't be, you know, people going on and on about how great something is and not critically assessing it, because at the end of the day, I think it's resulted in far more people getting involved in music and it becoming almost more of like a trend thing, like, oh, I make music, and it's like an aesthetic almost. And there's a lot of people making music, but not a lot of people making great music.
Yeah, I think it's sort of we were talking about this before we started, where like you'll go to the gigs and it's all kind of the same people that go to the gigs, and that's great, and you should go and support local artists and musicians and your mates, but it's just going to be like that forever if nothing changes. It's just
of the standard of music probably then.
Yeah.
If it's the same people going all the time, it's the core supporters, and you need that. But if you need to attract people beyond that sphere.
Yeah, and realistically, you know, someone has one breakout single that, you know, hits it big on the charts, or just like has some sort of like mainstream appeal with the public. It's not like that one song happens and then suddenly everyone else in the scene is going to blow up.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen.
No.
I think realistically, like if I'm gonna show someone like the best of it, it's gonna be the PX guys.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be Hazy Hayes, it's gonna be Gavin Da Vinci.
And I think that's something about they're not like they even said to me in an interview I did with them ages ago. It's like we're not doing it for the people that aren't writing about us anyway. We're doing it for the other guys we're competing against. Like I'm competing against him. I'm competing against Gavin. I'm competing against Citrus Fresh. I'm competing against all these people. I'm not just trying to get on a blog because like believe me, like good stuff gets put on blogs, no doubt, but that like a blog spot isn't like gonna define your success forever. It's like people actually listening to your fucking music, and I think the way that they've got that competitive nature, and like they weren't really on social media and stuff that much before.
No.
And I think it's telling in their music that they've literally just sharpened their pen and honed in on their sound so much more. Like I feel like a lot of other people are just content. Do you know?
Yeah.
What I mean?
Yeah, they have a really unique sound, and like I'm talking about. I'm not trying to be a dick or anything, but it feels like they're making stuff that only they could make. That is like all, not the. There's other people that are making stuff that it shows their personality, and that's great, but it doesn't feel super unique musically.
Yeah.
Like it feels like they're doing something that someone from outside who has no like knowledge of what Ireland even is could be like, oh wow, this is great. Like this feels like a fully realized, like they don't give a fuck about what anyone else thinks about it, or like what kind of music they should be making, or any kind of image or whatever. I think that's part of the reason why they don't really get probably enough credit in the scene, is because they're not like a sexy kind of option. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not just like or like the recent Gannon family like story is great about them all being immigrants, and that is really interesting, but like it isn't like a kind of like nice story like that. It's just like a load of dudes from the country just making like dirty bangers.
Yeah, and sort of embracing like who they are and stuff, and like I don't know, it's like not everybody is gonna be super musically talented and super musically unique, but I think smoke gets blown up the arches of a lot of people too much.
Yeah,
you know.
And it's not to say like I don't think like every other artist should just start making like dirty bangers about like getting drugged up and like all that kind of stuff. Like it's not like what we're trying to say. It's just that like
stop spreading a false narrative.
Yeah, that feels more authentic. Like, and it's just it's never going to get anywhere, the scene, if everyone just keeps patting each other on the back. And like, when was the last time that you saw a track posted on Twitter by whatever artist and people didn't say anything but, this is incredible, this is like the best thing you've ever done, blah 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 blah. It's always it's the same every time.
Yeah, that honestly, and it doesn't have to be this is shit. It just it just is like, nah, this wasn't it for me. And that's what someone was telling me earlier. It's like just being fucking honest about it, because like honestly, it is bizarre, because I think if someone else from another country came in and was like plopped into Irish Twitter and was like, okay, look through all this music and look at the reactions, they'd be like, how does every single person like every single one of these songs?
It's like if if like one of your mates just started singing and they were shit, but you just kept telling them they were great.
Dropping fire emojis underneath everything.
Yeah, they like, keep doing it because they think they're amazing.
And don't get me wrong, like I think we're guilty to some extent where we narrate what's going on and talk about things that are going on and maybe haven't been critical enough. But it's a wider problem, you know, and I think like from our perspective we need to take that on board and be more critical, and that's something we're going to do. But it's definitely a wider problem.
Yeah, and it's not, you know, everyone's making art. It's an artistic thing. It's nothing personal at all. I think Mango and Mathman are both like nice guys. I've got nothing against them. I actually like a few of their songs.
Yeah,
like it's nothing against anyone. Like I don't actually think anyone is just like their shit singer that can't sing at all. Like loads of people are really really talented. I think that's why it's so frustrating that they not push themselves, but there's just like that like 5-10% that's just missing, I think.
And I think it's because they're not getting pushed by other people, because they feel like that's great, that's grand, like we've done it, we've made it, and like evidently we haven't made it, we haven't done it, and like there's a lot to be done, and it just became really clear to me when I was just comparing like music, and obviously it is a lot more primitive here than it is elsewhere, but if you're just trying to replicate the same stuff that other people are doing, then you're gonna get the same sound but different results. You're gonna get like something's already the reason that it's popular there is because they did it first. It's because it's authentic to them, and yeah, we might still be trying to find our sound and stuff, but I guess what we're trying to say is just we need to be more honest as a scene, because we've already done things like creating multiple shows. There's people that regularly go to stuff. That's great, and honestly, probably in the early stages, it's good to pick everybody up and make more of a deal of it so people get confidence. But
Yeah.
I don't think all these artists we're talking about need confidence. That's the last. Like, I think that's the last
Nah,
thing they need.
I mean,
honestly,
most of them are some of the most confident people I've
yeah,
ever met in my
yeah.
life.
And it's not about that anymore. It's about being like, yeah, you're good, but like, how are you going to take it to the next level? Because you're always going to be in Ireland. You're always just going to be that guy that does a couple of shows in the Workman's Club. You're always going to be that guy that gets people saying, "Oh, this is such a banger." Gets put on a couple of playlists. Like, is that what people want?
No, I think it's not. There shouldn't really be like a culture barrier, I think, for it as well. Like, hip hop's massive all over the world now, and it started off as like a sort of rebellion against race culture in America and stuff, which is a problem that, although like race is obviously a massive issue in the whole world,
Yeah.
but it's like a quite specific problem, like in the way that they talk about it. But it doesn't matter because the music was good and everyone liked it.
Yeah, and like, music's universal. Like, we were talking the other day about how music that's non-English speaking music is becoming more popular almost than English speaking music at the moment. Like 2015 on YouTube, the top 10 songs all English. By 2018, I think there's only 2 English speaking songs in the top 10, and that's credit to the fact, one, the international people are having more of an influence on YouTube, but 2, people in the Western world are also listening to far more music. So it shows you that like language isn't a barrier. You look at like Burna Boy, all these people that sing in their native language. So why would an Irish accent, or why would people from Ireland be any different to someone in America? If you have one good song and someone in America hears it, they're probably gonna like it, you know?
Yeah, I think it's just a quality thing, because I'm sure like I'm sure Irish artists are reaching out to people from the UK or people even further, and I know like there have been some songs and stuff like that, but there must be a reason why it doesn't happen more. Like it feels like,
well, when we were talking about like your man New Machine, who was over here for a while making songs like Dubzino and Scripta, and sort of upping the quality of their production, which is probably like fair enough. That's actually probably a reason. Maybe there's just not the studios, or there's like the quality producers here to actually do it. But
yeah.
then I think no, there is. Like, we were listing off, we were going to talk about producers instead, and we were listing off the producers, and there's some really good producers here. And it's a case maybe of just being smarter about it, collaborating outside Ireland, you know, trying to make moves outside of here.
Yeah, I think that is what it is. The production thing I think is interesting because it's like, you know, Steve Lacy made his first album off like it's his
iPhone.
An iPhone, right? It's all recorded on an iPhone.
He
and
literally
like,
held the iPhone up to his guitar, played the guitar. He made beats on fucking Kendrick Lamar's "To Pimp Butterfly."
Yeah.
So I mean,
and like, yeah, he's part of the internet, and he's in LA, and like, obviously, all that shit helps.
he was still in high school when he got nominated for a Grammy with the internet, though.
But like, the fact is, if what he'd made off that iPhone wasn't good enough, then he wouldn't have got all that. Like, I think that's the main thing that it just comes down to. Like,
yeah,
we just need to be more critical, and that's the only way that we're gonna get the potential achieved, and the actual like properly great music that definitely can happen.
I mean, I guess what we're trying to say is like, no one really gives a fuck if you get 500,000 plays on Spotify or something, because like, who's gonna remember that in 5 years?
Yeah, that's not the kind of thing that makes a lasting impact on the culture. Like,
I mean, streams can be representative of something that's really good. You know, something really good is inevitably going to have loads of streams, but just having streams and being on a playlist and being able to say, oh, I was on New Music Friday, or oh, I was on the New Air playlist, like, it's a bit of recognition for you, and yeah, it feels great, but like, think of any scene, any musical genre, there's like moments that bring it forward, and I'm struggling to find people who are actually trying to make a lasting impact, you know?
yeah.
It really feels like everybody's doing the same thing of just spraying out music. No, and I know albums aren't as listened to anymore, but there's something to be said about projects in some way, shape, or form. People creating lasting moments in the culture, like we were saying, like recent Gano Family. It wasn't winning the Choice Prize that was so important necessarily. Yeah, it was like industry recognition or whatever within Ireland, but it's a classic album. Like, I'm not going back thinking, whoa, this won the Choice Prize. I'm going back and thinking, this is an album I still listen to and I can still go back to and say this was an important moment. I'm not going to go back and say your single on New Music Friday was a moment, because it wasn't.
Yeah. I think maybe we are being a bit premature. Like, maybe we are being a bit presumptuous, because like, you know, Boy in the Corner comes out like years and years before grime. And I know it's not really grime, but like before grime breaks out, and maybe it does take that long. And maybe we'll do this podcast again in like 2 or 3 years, and we'll be like, oh wow, like this fucking album came out, like this Leo Miyagi album came out, and it was mind blowing and shit. But
I do agree to an extent, and I know it will be like a long journey, but I still think that the way things are going about in terms of like how it's about creating best practice, isn't it? It's about like cultural practice that lasts throughout. So if you just have a culture of people patting each other on the back and there's no competitiveness and no people willing to say honest things, then it's not really going to progress. But
yeah, I mean, like, plus some of the biggest like hip hop moments in culture have been people going at each other, like people getting
and grime, like
people getting like antagonistic with each other, because like they think they're shit and they're better than them, and like they should be getting the attention that they're getting. And
everybody I know that I'm sort of getting stuck on this point of like it just feels everybody's like nicey nice, and it's great to like have that sense of community. Don't get me wrong, and people supporting each other, but I feel like we've got loads of people supporting each other, and it's not going to disappear suddenly if two people say that they don't like each other's music. And I'm not asking people to beef or anything like that. I'm just asking people to be honest. You don't have to like everything, you know, like you don't have to like everything. That's the truth. And
yeah, it's true. And like we said before, like we probably have been victim to it as well.
Oh, definitely, 100%. I mean, that's where this whole podcast is coming from. And like there might be a sense of, you know, urgency about this, but it's because it's just very apparent reflecting on everything, you know.
Yeah, plus like you're welcome to comment and say that the podcast is shit.
I couldn't give a fuck if people don't agree with me, but I would not. I don't want to be doing this thing and not giving my actual 2 cents on what I think's happening, you know. Yeah, because I mean we've been doing it a while now, and like you were saying earlier, I pretty much get sent every single hip hop song in Ireland at this point just from work and from this. And the theme is that it's just too sporadic in terms of good music, and like I don't know, is it a trend of people just want to do it because it's cool?
I don't know. I don't think so. No. I mean, like, I'm sure there are some people. Yeah. But I think most people are doing it because they genuinely want, like, they're passionate about music and they want to do it. I don't think that's the source of the issue. But I guess we're not exactly sure what the source of the issue is. We talked about quite a few of them.
Yeah, and I mean, this is totally like, this is opinion, and some of it's speculative, and we're just saying what we think. But it would be good to hear what other people think, because surely other people are feeling a similar way to some extent in terms of there needs to be something that changed a bit more, because we do feel like there's more interest in what's going on, but there's no one really per se breaking through just off their own back at the moment.
No, and I'd love to hear some artist reactions to what we're saying. I think realistically we're just two guys talking about it. Like, we're not making the music.
Yeah, we have a totally different perspective to what they've got.
Yeah,
but I think that it's important for them to hear our perspective, and then it'd be great for us to hear their perspective.
Yeah,
because there might be some like barriers to entry that they're feeling right now, or I can't do this because I haven't got, you know, studio time, blah blah blah. But yeah, I guess the whole point of this was just
to vent our opinions.
Yeah, and 2020, we're being honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's got off to a good start as well. I think that the Hazy Haze album is sick. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's better than most albums that came out last year.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of 2019, I think it was actually kind of weak in terms of the projects that came out. There's a lot of them, but not a lot of strong ones. And maybe it's good that there's more projects coming out, but let's see 2020 have a couple that leave a mark. Yeah, I'd love to be here in a year doing this again and just being like, man, what an amazing year. Yeah. And just to properly, genuinely believe it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, I think we can leave it there. We really do want to hear what you have to say, and you know, you can tell us fuck you haven't a clue what you're talking about. Feel free to do that. I get it a lot, so it's grand at this point. He actually gets off on it. It's a bit of a weird, fetish thing. But yeah, I think we'll leave it at this point. Yeah. So honesty for 2020. That's where we're keeping it. Yeah. So I'm ready for an onslaught of criticism, to be honest. Yeah. Right. Let's leave it at that. Cheers for tuning in.